And yesterday is exactly why I always say so many times, fam, that I'm not getting carried away. Manchester United, they drew 1-1 away against West Ham, and not perfect, not dominant, but we showed something really important yesterday, blood, and that was character. But let me tell you something, man, it was disappointing, and I've been saying this for a minute, about to continue this run, like that, and the boys need to concentrate in this game. And a lapse of concentration will ruin that, and that's what happened, blood. And but fair play, man, to West Ham. They made it very, very difficult for us, like that. So yeah, again, not in the studio, but next week I will be back. Now, anyway, let's take this walk, like that. Hopefully, the lighting's all good, like that. I had to stand in a place here where the lighting is okay. It has been raining, damp out here, but all good to go. The ones there. Yeah, in that game, man, we were slow in spells. I can't lie, we were so slow in spells, and we didn't able to fully control the game, control the tempo, because because West Ham, they were super compact. They were super compact, and as per usual, there is areas to improve, especially because this is exactly, what man, especially me, were concerned about when we play a team, that play super compact, they play a low block, something like that, exactly similar to Fulham, and this is what we were kind of worried about. And especially when you were away from home, and especially when it's not flowing, you gotta find a way to be able to at least find a way to win. This is where they look up here to your big players, like the Imbremos, like the Cunhas, like the Casemiros, for example, them ones there. And obviously we've seen some bits and pieces in this game where we can take positives, like for example, Casemiro. We'll talk about him. Like I've always said, my favorite Man United player as of now. And he was also trying to make things happen in the game here with Man U as well. But West Ham made it super compact, and West Ham had a game plan, and that was to frustrate us. They were going to fight. That's one thing I would say. They were going to fight. They were going to fight, for their lives, blood, because they're fighting here for relegation. They are actually in a relegation zone, and they have to get every ounce of points as much as possible to survive, and we had to be very, very smart in this game, because like I said, they're fighting for their lives, and also because they are at home, it is natural for them, to get more of the ball, for them to be super compact, and for them to take their advantage, and we just have to be the one that take the opportunities, you know, when it arises. And when it doesn't, and we miss our chances, this is where it becomes really, really booky. And then also it becomes really, really frustrating for us. Because if we don't take our chances, fam, they're going to punish us. They are definitely going to punish us. And that is something, right, that we couldn't afford in this game. You know, and like I said before, man, like West Ham had a game plan and they were super compact throughout the game, especially in the midfield. You know, where there were times where Manu and Casemiro, man, couldn't able, man, to, you know, to dribble past. And yesterday, I remember when I was watching the game, I was like, fam, yes, we pinned them back to their own half, but that was the game plan. When we have the ball, they get pinned back and they're super compact. And it wasn't like as if that they were going to go for the counter-attack somehow. You know, them ones there. And yeah, fam, they made it so difficult for us, man, to pass the ball in between them because they were super compact, you know. And this is what, you know, we've been saying, especially, you know, like anybody, man, should take note, man, on how to be super compact. That's how you do it, blood. You know, and I said it before about concentration, about structure, you know, like it's so important, man. I said this in the previous video for a minute, that concentration, man, is so important because, you know, because you want to maximize how much the opportunity you have, man, to get that top 4 conversation. And if not, it punishes you. You know, in concentration, structure, a game plan, this is how, man, the game was going to be for both teams, man. And both teams set up very, very well. Because, you know, that for us, we were slow. Like I said before, we were very slow. And like I said in the previous video for a minute, I said that, you know, against Arsenal, one example, Arsenal, right? You know, we just had to get our groove. And then as soon as we get our groove, and as soon as we managed to press them into a mistake, that's how Impremo scored. You know, like that. But for this one, it wasn't easy, blood. It wasn't easy, fam. I can't lie. It wasn't easy. And it was frustrating. And that was one word as well. One word I will say, not just frustrating, but one word I will say is concentration, blood. Concentration. You know, like that. Now, yeah, for one of the first chances, right, Mr. Spamming, Bruno Fernandes curved this run, you know, to do like a volley dink, but because of how quick he had to react and how quick it was for him to get the ball over the goalkeeper, he couldn't really get it on target. But I think that was offside, you know, like that. And then West Ham, they're really giving us a game and a half, fam, you know, because like Somerville, what a player. I don't know if it's a purple patch but right now, man, he's in form, blood. And you know, he forced a cross, you know, for Bowen to header, and that was wide. And that, no, that wasn't wide. Lamens, he forced Lamens here to save it, which was comfortable. It was a comfortable save by Lamens, you know, like that. I was another corner routine from us here from the training ground. You know, Bruno Fernandes passed to Luke Shaw, and you know, Wan-Bissaka, man, defended area from the line. You know, fam, this is what, man, that you didn't get from Amram, blood. A game plan here from the corners, you know, and that was good. Very well done by Johnny Evans and the team. You know, trying to give you know, Man United, man, an outlet, blood, to, you know, to at least you know, to, like I said before, to take the opportunity you have, man, to at least score a goal, like in the previous game where Bruno Fernandes passed the Menu, and then Menu scored for Menu assisted for Imbremo to score that goal in the corner against Spurs. You need that, blood, and this one was it was good, really, really good, blood. But Wan-Bissaka, man, off the line, that was definitely off from the training ground. And this is what I'm trying to say, is that is football, blood. That is football. Making things happen, being spontaneous, being unpredictable, like that. So like in the second half, yeah, this is what I was trying to say about one word I said. It was concentration. Luke Shaw, blood. Luke Shawman allowed the ball to bounce. He left that. Why would man leave the ball? And like I said, man, he misjudged the ball. And then we're all wondering, how, because for real, Bowen has so much space, He has so much space on the right that he could have just taken just another sec, just to put that ball into the box, and my man scored, and that was 1-0. And like I said, this is what I mean about concentration. I said this in the previous video, that you have to keep the concentration level high as much as you can. Obviously, this is the first time that obviously since that we out of all of the cups, this is the first time I think that we are playing 3 days. It is not like we play every week, but we're playing the next 3 days. And I'm just thinking to myself that, fam, what would have happened if we were in the cup games? Now that we have seen this, no big man thing, no, I'm deep in it now, because I've been deep in it for a minute, but I haven't mentioned it in the previous videos. But now I'm deep in it even more. I'm like, okay, now that we just saw that, this is why I was saying before that that I'm not getting carried away. We shouldn't get carried away. I've been saying this for a very long time, especially under Amram. I've been saying it under Carrick as well, that anything can happen. That's why we couldn't be too excited. But for me, somebody may look at this video and say, yeah, but you were excited in the previous videos for a minute and then and there. And I'm like, and at me, the reason why that I wasn't how can I put it? Let me just say it this way, with the performances that we've been seeing here for the last couple of game weeks, I was content, because I wasn't get too excited, but I was content because we're starting to get to see certain things click, especially from our best players. And this is why I was like, brilliant, this is what we needed. We needed this, to get the best out of your players, to have a system that will work. And if you saw in that game, concentration is so important, blood. It's so important. And Shaw just proved that, what I meant. One mistake and they could punish us. And they did that, blood. You know, and it's just one of those ones there where like, it's one of those ones there where because it was going end to end. Like I said before, like West Ham and us, we had a game plan. And you can tell that both teams were just level, neck and neck.
Yeah, that does make sense.
You're getting to do it all that way.
And we're thinking that a moment of brilliance here will be the one to just salvage the game. And then Casemiro's goal was brilliant. Good header, my guy. Like I said before, man, my favorite United player right now. Like that brilliant header, Manu. What a ball! But unfortunately, fam, it was offside. Now I'm gonna say this, man. Nobody should go at Carrick. Nobody should go at Carrick, blood. Nobody. I'm not going at Carrick because he set us up the right way. Because you don't want to make it too complicated for the players to follow. And we've seen that under Amram, where he gave, like, everything was just all over the place. And that's why Mr. Spamming was doing what he was doing, blood. I mean, I don't want to always point blame at Shaw all the time, but like I said before, man, like, we have to give constructive criticism at man and say that, fam, you misjudged the ball. I think there was even one time here where the ball was bouncing and I think a player was gonna go up Martinez and Maguire was there. And Maguire read the situation because it looked like as if Martinez wasn't going to get the ball, or he wasn't high enough to jump to get the ball, or let's say he couldn't jump higher enough, let me say it that way. And Maguire was there with Martinez to hit the ball away, which was very, very good. And then I think he hit it again to give it to the other player on the left, I think. I remember that. That's what Shaw should have done. Shaw should have said, no, hit it away. It's unfortunate. You know. And like I said before, man, it's a player problem, like that. And it's nothing else that we can do. But West Ham, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, blood. I've been saying this for a minute, that I'm not going to be one of those wasters, where like, I'm not going to be one of those man that don't refuse, man, to give credit where credit is due. And also, like I said before, give constructive criticism, because people think that giving criticism is bad, but no, you need that, man, to improve in life. That's why West Ham, well done, they gave us a game, blood. Now, I've been talking about Mbeumo, like that. And I said this in the previous video about the player Mbeumo is. And when man doesn't get the GA, the XG, he can be a frustration watch. He can be a frustration to watch, blood. And there were times there where it looked like it looked similar to Spurs, but it was one of those ones where like he just lost the ball so many times in this game. And I did say to man, I said this in the previous video for a minute. I said that don't expect here in Bremo to dribble past man. He's not that kind of player, blood. He's not. Just keep it 100. He's not that kind of player. It's a player that you need to keep him further forward from the last defender. So all he needs to do is just take a shot or one touch, bang. His left foot is lethal when it comes to shooting. But when it comes to technical ability in tight spaces like Casemiro, Cunha, Ahmad, Xerxes, he's not that man. He's not that man. And it was frustrating to watch. Because there was a part of me that was like, wait, why is he still on the pitch? I was like that, why is he still on the pitch? That's how I was. But I said, look, okay, you know what? Probably Carrick and the team here got something on why Mbeumo is still on the pitch. Probably because of his lethal shooting that he's still on the pitch, which I can accept. And also, we had another big chance where Xerxes was so close to equalise, blood. Bruno Fernandes cross, and Xerxes heads it, and it was inches wide. It was inches. I was like, blood. I was like, ah. And it looked like as if it wasn't going to be a day. Fam. Because, no, let's give it to Carrick and the team. Let's give it to them, fam. Because, going for it. Going for the gamble. Bringing in two strikers, Xerxes and Šeško. That one was really, really good because that is how that you bring the mindset to the team while they're playing. That to go for it, to go for the attack and never give up. Because we've seen it too many times here under Amram, where, look, I don't want to talk about Amram too much, but the reason I bring him up is because just to compare. And also, the standards for this club is on the floor. And for him, man, to go for the gamble, for him, man, to bring in two attackers instead of two defenders, blood, was fantastic stuff right there. Fantastic management right there. And that is what happened. Šeško, proper finish. And Bremer's cross wasn't the best. But for man to do that, what a goal. It's like as if he just tapped volley it. Like that. He just tapped volley it. And went in. But fam, I wasn't happy with that still. Because I can see that it wasn't enough for us to win the game. Especially when Šeško scored in stoppage time. And and also West Ham defending for their lives, blood. There's no point. Šeško scored, but it was too late. It was too late, blood. It was too late. And it's and I have to give it to Carrick once again. I have to give it to him because he went on and took risks, and that's what you need. Most of the time in life, especially in life, that gives you an illustration that you have to take risks. You have to give a certain level of trust, man, to your players. And and we did enough, man, to at least get a draw, like that. And that's what happened. Like when you take risks, you just have to just go for it. Characters did that. Them ones there. And fam, like, Casemiro's offside goal, Xerxes nearly scoring, so Šeško's goal. We were just unfortunate, I mean, let's keep it a buck. Like, West Ham also had their chances as well. Almost scoring and putting the ball wide, and so then it could have gone. It could have gone either way. It could have gone either way. Now, with Šeško's goal, now here I'm not saying that Mbremoye did great because he had his assist. Mbremoye was not good yesterday, including one of my favorite United players, Ahmad. Even though that these men, were trying to do something, trying to make things happen. And Ahmad was locked in, was locked off. He was getting bodied, man, yeah, by Dwarf. And then never see Ahmad had to move in different areas, of the different areas here of the pitch to keep the ball moving. And obviously Shaw's mistake cost us. His mistake cost us, and even he wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough, yesterday. Bruno Fernandes, Mr. Spamming, them ones there, like especially with Casemiro and mainly, trying to make things happen, but it wasn't enough, and Šeško, is echoing what I was thinking. Šeško said that I'm happy that I scored a goal, but I'm not happy of the draw. 100% I agree. That's what I just said. That's what I was thinking before the goal. Sorry, not before the goal. Before I saw a little quote here from his interview. This is why I always say that I'm not getting carried away. I'm not getting carried away. We should get carried away. We shouldn't get carried away. I'm not getting carried away. I've always said this. You can check in my previous video for a minute. I've been saying this for a minute, blood, that we shouldn't get carried away. I'm not getting carried away. It's because of something like that. Something like that, what happened in this game, it just tells you why I'm not getting carried away. Because like I said before, that even though that I'm contented with the performances, from Man United in the last couple of game weeks, it gives you some sort of like, okay, let's do this. Let's see what man can do. But we always have to be wary of anything can happen. Anything can happen, blood. And especially in football. It's like in life in general, blood. Like I said before, I was contented with the performances and the progress that we've been seeing. Like I said before, Carrickman giving the players certain instructions, certain simple instructions just to keep going. Not to make it overly difficult. Yeah, something came up on my phone. Alright, cool. Anyway. Wait, hold up. Cool, yeah, that's good. Like I said, man, I'm not going to fault Carrick here or his system. This was a player's miscalculation of the ball that led to their goal, and they capitalized and they scored, and that's football, blood. That's football. That's what you need to do, fam. As well as West Ham making it difficult for us here to break them down. Like I said before, man, fair play to West Ham, bro. Fair play to them. They made it difficult. They made it difficult, and you know, Carrick, you know, and the team, and need to look at what went wrong, blood, in this game. What went wrong in this game? You know, see where the problem lies. Obviously, one of them is concentration, and one of them, like I said before earlier on in this video, about like, just imagine if United played every 3 days. Because don't forget, West Ham didn't come here to play. They were super compact and they waited here for the opportunity and went for it, and they did. You know. Anyway, our next match, blood, is against Everton away, 23rd of February, which is on a Monday, right? After the cup games. And that is not going to be easy. That's not going to be an easy game, you know, like that. But I'm going to say this again. I've said this in the previous video and I say it again. The boys really need to concentrate and get back to winning ways. You know, the ones there, like, if they want Champions League football, if they want the top 4, then we go again. You know, because we're still in the top 4, but you have to stay there, man, for the Champions League football. You know, like that. Alright, blood. So, on to the next game.